Welcome to this week's Race Room. We're on location for today's show at a very special Singapore Grand Prix simulator experience in Canary Wharf in London with Mauritius' Max Chilton and Sky Sports' Natalie Pinkham. More on that later. First though, it's time to give you all your latest MotoGP news. So we're halfway through the season in MotoGP, 9 races, and that means 9 consecutive wins for Marc Marquez. He's done it again. Out in Germany at the Sachsenring, it was a bizarre race. Wet weather again, a bit like Assen 2 weeks before. The riders thought they could go on the wet bikes, but actually the track dried really quickly, which meant all of the drivers dived back into the pit lane to change onto their slick tyres. Stefan Bradl though, he already had changed onto slick tyres, but with a wet setup bike. He was in 3rd place. And then there was this bizarre scene with him in 3rd place on the grid, and then no one until about 14th on the grid. The grid was completely empty. So many drivers starting from the pit lane, including the current world champion Marc Marquez, Dani Pedrosa, the likes of the Yamaha boys, Rossi and Lorenzo. They all had to make their way out of the pit lane at the start of the race, and it took them not too long, well the Hondas at least, to get up to catch Stefan Bradl. Marc Marquez made light work of it, Dani Pedrosa followed, and the Yamaha racing boys, well, they managed to work their way up the field too, but a bit slower, and it was Jorge Lorenzo who joined Marc Marquez and Dani Pedrosa on the podium, completing the top 3. Marc Marquez now has a lead of 77 points. That is incredible, 225 points. We're at the halfway point of the season. Can he go on and have more consecutive wins? Absolutely incredible riding from Marc Marquez, and you can see why he is on top of the world. Right, so I promised you a bit more information about what's going on down here at Canada Place at Canary Wharf in London. Singapore Air have set up an awesome simulator. You can see it behind me. Max Chilton and Natalie Pinkham are here. Let's go and have a word with them and see how they've been getting on in the simulator. So have you had a go in the simulator? What's it like?
I have. I was slightly worried about it because you get a lot of people that are very good on simulators that come along and do very well, but I managed to do a pretty good time, so I'm fairly happy, and it'll be interesting to see who wins because they get an awesome trip to go to the Singapore Grand Prix.
Anyone challenging your time so far? We've got someone here behind us.
Well, I did set a time which was 10 seconds clear of anyone else, but then we're slightly suspect that some simulator drivers just come along and he was 1.5 seconds off me, so it's pretty close. So it looks like he might be going to Singapore.
And the Singapore Grand Prix, it's not long away now. Is it one of your favourites on the calendar, or which one is, and how does Singapore compare?
Yeah, Singapore comes around very quickly because after the summer break we have Monza and Spa, and before you know it you're off to Singapore. So it's one of the ones that the drivers really look forward to. We have 19 races in the year, but this is one of those standout races like the Monaco Grand Prix. It's very unusual because all the people stay on British time, and so you're getting, you know, you're having breakfast at kind of midnight and you're going to sleep at silly hours o'clock, and it's a very weird kind of circumstances. And also, you know, the circuit is at night, so it's floodlit. The cars look spectacular under light, and it's very hot and humid.
Are you going to beat Max Chilton on the simulator?
Look, let's be honest about this. I have got 0 chance of beating Max Chilton on the simulator. What might help me in my time against Max, she's asking whether I'm going to beat you on the sim.
If you beat me, then you can have my car for the rest of the season. Deal?
What a deal. That's done.
That is a serious deal.
Yeah.
Has he been giving you tips?
Well, the most important thing about the sim is to anticipate the next corner, and because he knows Singapore like the back of his hand, he does say, okay, coming up, tight left, you know, go hard on the brakes, you know, so he's been talking me through the lap.
But it's practice makes perfect with these things, isn't it?
Like 100%, and you have to know the circuit really well. And my problem is I get all the circuits confused. Is it this one? Is it Spa? Is it Italy? Monza? I can't remember.
Am I going left and right, up or down? And we got some good times up on the board.
Some really impressive times on the board. And there's this one guy, Chris, who's only like half a second off Max's time. So I fear you might actually pop up in F1 next year.
And it's an incredible prize, isn't it, going to the Singapore Grand Prix?
What an incredible prize. I have to say, Singapore is right up there. It's on the podium of my favourite races. Singapore, Monaco and Silverstone are my 3 favourite races. And Singapore's unique. I mean, it's a night race. There's a real energy about the place, such a buzz, such an incredible vibe. Everyone stays on European time, so it's like you're part of this cool little club that gets up in the middle of the night and races. What's cooler than that?
So I said that you could win the awesome football signed by Danny Juncadella, and we have a winner, Keon Coughlin. Thank you very much for getting in touch and commenting below. You predicted that Germany would win. You also predicted that they would beat Argentina. So congratulations to you. We will be in touch to send you a signed football by Danny Juncadella. Congratulations. Coming up this weekend, we've got the Formula One out in Germany at Hockenheim. I asked Max Chilton if he was looking forward to the weekend, especially given the debate over Frick.
Well, our team, we call it HPC, so this Frick word is very new to me, but it might be so new and it's going out the window so quickly that I'll forget it. But all the teams I'm aware run it. I think some decide to run it at some races and not the others because it might not work particularly well with their car. With ours, it's just front and rear, and some teams I think have it front, rear, side and side, so it's going to cost them more than it is us. We did a bit of testing at Silverstone without it, and it didn't actually harm us that much, so we're actually fairly confident, you know, if they do scrap it, that we'll be okay, and actually that's actually probably a plus for us. So it's nothing to worry about, and our team has lots of experience to kind of get around problems.
So yes, it's going to be interesting to see how all the suspension debate plays out over the weekend. Will people get rid of Frick, or will they carry on using it and then run the risk of being dobbed in by other teams? We're also going to be at the Ford Owners Club this weekend at Donington Park, so look out for us there. And while Max Chilton poses with some fans for more photographs, I think I might try and sneak myself into the simulator and see if I can win that trip to Singapore. See you next week.
Down in the woods today.
The tweet's posted, the race is on.